How's everybody doing today? Sorry for the delay this week, but thank you for joining me. We are going to go over a very heartbreaking uh, loss on Monday Night Football this week. But before we get started, you know, still 8-1. But before we start today, we'd like to remind everybody you can find this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, Spreaker, Blueberry, TuneIn, Castbox, and anywhere you find your podcasts at. And also on YouTube. While you're on YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you don't miss a single video that we do. Also, go ahead and stop by, give us a 5-star review, drop us a comment. Let us know what you think about the show. It really helps the show grow. But before we get started today, there was a couple notes that have dropped within the last couple days that, of course, I want to catch everybody up on. And we're going to go ahead and start with, some very disappointing news. I know for some of our listeners, really disappointing news. But Ronald Blair suffered a torn ACL and is out for the season. It's heartbreaking. Hey, Kim, how you doing? It's very heartbreaking to see. Ronald Blair was having a great season. It's a contract year. I guess for us people, the silver lining would be is maybe we can keep him around. Because of him tearing his ACL, he'll be won't get as much of an expensive contract, but we'll see how that all turns out. To go ahead and make room on the roster, or to take his place on the roster, I should say, the Niners went ahead and signed preseason All-Star Demontre Moore to a 1-year deal. That's pretty awesome. Oh, that's what's up. I get a new listener and a same listener, but in a new place. That's what's up. Now it's gonna say that that I think I know where you're at, Kim. But that would be cool to see somewhere new that pops up on the list this week. But also more injury updates. Matt Breida aggravated his ankle. The running back was listed as day-to-day. Emmanuel Sanders is day-to-day. It will likely be a game-time decision with a rib issue. They said something wrong with his rib. Hi, Mama. How you doing? Everybody say hi to Mama. So Emmanuel Sanders will be a game-time decision. DJ Jones is dealing with a groin injury and will likely miss at least a week. I know, Mama. I was actually kind of really excited. I mean, I'd rather have Ronald Blair, but I'm really excited we were able to get to more. I like what he showed in the preseason, and hopefully that we won't ask him to play a real significant role. And so I think that when you take players like that of his skill level, because he has some skill, and it's almost like Cassius Morris. I think just to go back to Cassius Morris for a second, I think the problem is not that Cassius Morris wasn't a good player. He just wasn't a premier S rusher. So we brought him out too many times and it exposed him. Tomorrow Moore hopefully won't be out that much to be exposed. But Joe Saley suffered a fractured / dislocated finger, has surgery, and will probably be out at least a couple weeks. Again, we got more comments. Oh, just somebody saying hi, Miss Debbie. That sucks. Rookie linebacker Aziz Al-Shire is currently in protocol, but as of yesterday's press conference, Kyle Shanahan said that he was fine. I think he said it takes 3 to 4 days for you to clear concussion protocol, but he's the best that he could be at this point in time. So it sounds like he'll be available to play on Sunday and will be cleared of concussion protocol by game time, whatever the last day that they can be cleared is. And a killer Witherspoon is day to day. What they said, foot strain and quad. Now I haven't caught anything of the Niners saying anything about a quad as far as um, that's concerned. I think that might be a new injury. Maybe that was the setback they were talking about. Strained his quad. Robbie Gould is in the same position as he was last week. He's going to be a game time decision. Shanahan said a maybe. I hope so. Chase McDaniels did, or McLaughlin, sorry, Chase McLaughlin. Look, it's very easy, and we'll get into this more. But yeah, Chase McLaughlin would be the kicker. And let's see what else we have. Uh, Same with Kittle. He's going to be a game time decision. And Jalen Hurts practice window has opened, but Shanahan does not expect the rookie wide receiver to be active this week or return to practice. The Niners have 3 weeks to practice, so this week and then 2 additional weeks to activate him to the 53-man roster or place him on season-ending reserve. And the last little bit of notes before we go ahead and get into the game breakdown that I wanted to do. It was officially announced, like a lot of us assumed, that next week's matchup between the Niners and the Packers has gone ahead and been moved to Sunday Night Football. The official time for kickoff was going to be 1:25. Now it's been moved to 5:20. So for those who are going to the game, please take note of that it is not going. You will basically show up probably about an hour after the game is gone. Hold on, I gotta get the McAfee securities thing back. We should Kittle's out. We know he'll passionate and want to play. The stupid security system breach thingies. Let's see. Passion. Yeah, I know. It's not just so much his energy and his passion for the game. I mean, obviously that's very clear, but it's just the fact that he's a pass catcher. I mean, maybe you might argue that Emmanuel Sanders is 1B. Or Emmanuel Sanders is definitely 1B. As it's pretty obvious that that's the case. But going into the game, I mean, we all know what happened. It was I kind of want to focus, I guess. Let's get to the positives first. I want to go ahead and say I looked at Mama Miss Debbie. I looked at her and said, "This is a championship defense game." I mean, there was nothing about Monday night that made me not believe that we were still a championship defense. I mean, that game was clearly on the offense. And, I really, that's my number one takeaway. I guess you could say positive takeaway is that our defense is legit. That's a championship defense. That's the defense that can keep us in any ball game. I don't anticipate that there's no reason to believe that we couldn't compete in any game. We saw the second half against Arizona was more a Thursday night fluke than something being exposed like everybody thought. Defensive players of the game, I'll go ahead and of course announce my Kittle Corn MVP on the show, but Emmanuel Mosley. I mean, let's be real. If um, Akilla Witherspoon comes back and struggles at any point in time, I would not hesitate to, if I was Shanahan, to pull, or Sala, I guess would probably, be the first opportunity to give the decision. Um, I would hesitate to put Emmanuel Mosley back in. I know Akilla Witherspoon will get his opportunity and will get his job back as soon as he's healthy enough, just because he's a third round pick and was playing at a high level before he got hurt. It's let's not. I know, huh? Bumping up our games, national games. You're right, mommy. I think it is very interesting. I actually honestly thought that if we won that game, we were going to get it. I thought if we were going to lose, we weren't going to get Sunday Night Football. I was actually a little surprised to see that we still got Sunday Night Football. But I mean, 8-1. You know, this is I'm going to go ahead and wrap up on this top real quick. But Emmanuel Mosley, DeForest Buckner played possibly the game of his career. I think maybe the biggest play, defensive play since the pick at the stick. I mean, but bar none, that was the best play since defensive play since the pick at the stick. And when you add in the meaning, and I mean that I think what was encouraging yet so frustrating about that game was that you felt like going into that drive before that play happened, you just felt like that's just what the Seahawks do to us. I mean, we've just watched so many games where now this is where we're going to start to pull away, and with DeForest Buckner, and what made me so impressed with the defense is that they saw that the offense was struggling, and um, they made a play to say, "Hey, you know what? We got to score. The offense ain't getting it done right now. Well, then we're going to score," and they made the play. And that's what impressed me so much, and that's what I believe championship defenses do. Is that those are the type of plays that you see that defenses that championships make, and so that's DeForest Buckner, Fred Warner, amazing, best game of his career. I think that you're just seeing Fred Warner just take leaps and bounds above anywhere where he was last year. He's surprising even me. I thought he was going to be a great player or a good player. He's going to be a great player. I mean, we might be talking about a top 5 linebacker in the league. I mean, the way he played on Monday night was amazing and definitely stepped up to the plate. Big shout out goes to my rookie of the year to watch. I have to tell y'all, let's all be real to ourselves. And when Dre Greenlaw made that pick, you thought that was ball game. I thought that was ball game. Everybody in that stadium thought that was ball game. And I mean, to me, that's why I think just made everything such a letdown. Was you felt like just momentum had changed, and the stadium. Jason, good to see you, sir. Um, it's the just the energy of the stadium just erupted. I mean, that felt like candlestick. That felt like the moment that Levi's became alive. I mean, just that whole game, the atmosphere crazy. But that's the loudest I've ever heard Levi's. I mean, it was everybody was just going nuts because we just felt like it's over. Now, so big shout outs go to Drake Greenlaw, Jaquaski Tart, a huge play. That if we go on and win this game, Drake gets the credit and will be remembered and everything like that. But every time, Mama, that's what I was saying. I'm gonna get to that next when I got to the negatives about having a spy on Russell Wilson. Um, oh, Jason, I salute you, sir. And I have much respect for you, sir. It must not be easy for you. So it's Dre Greenlaw's play would have gone down as the game changer and all that, but I don't think, even though as great as Dre Greenlaw's play was, and it would have set up the game-winning score and all that, I think Jaquaski Tartt's play would have not got enough credit because in a play that's decided by a field goal, to take away 7 points, or fine, let's just whatever did fall in the end zone, take away at least 3 points in a game decided by 3 points. That's huge. That changes momentum. That was just the type of play that you just saw. You were just it was going to be our day. Now that I want to get to the positive. Now that I'm through with a lot of the positives, which is the defense, it's time to get the negatives. Now I'm going to start off with Jimmy G. Cool. Now I think that his performance, of course, it wasn't what we saw in Arizona. It wasn't the greatest game of his career, you know. But this is what I say: is that you clearly saw. So according to Niners Nation, Better Rivals podcast, they had, after Emmanuel Sanders went down. Of course, as we all know, Niners come up and Emmanuel Sanders in the game. We get up to goal. Then Kendrick Bourne has the touchdown. 10-0. Everything's looking amazing. Literally, after Emmanuel Sanders went down, we had 13 yards, 4.5 yards per pass attempt, and came up with 6 points. So you could clearly see that losing Emmanuel Sanders had the biggest possible impact you could think of. People, Apple watches, or even registered the volume was. Yeah, oh yeah, Mama. That stadium was literally. You're talking to Mama, who's literally been at every Niner game at Levi Stadium. And Mama, would you say that's the loudest it's been? I can't think of a time it's been louder at Levi's. I mean, it was packed. It was big shout out to the faithful. Of course, I have to acknowledge this because honestly, this pissed me off. What the fuck? You gotta vandalize the Joe statue. That's all I'm gonna mention about it and everything like that. You know what? He's in Elmwood or I'm assuming downtown for felony vandalism, and I'm pretty sure. Matter of fact, I know for a fact there are gonna be some Niner fans that have some justice waiting for him for what he did to the Joe statue. That's all I'm going to talk about it. But anyway, and if he was a Niner fan, honestly, sir, you get the title that is the worst thing that I feel that you can call a Niner fan, and that's, sir, you are a fakeful. And I don't like to use that type of word. That's a horrible. And y'all know me, I cuss, so I don't like to say that word. But yeah, you're a fakeful, sir. Anyway, so the negatives, Jimmy G Cool didn't have a great game. I will admit that. The ball security, in overtime in the fourth quarter, he almost gave the game away. Those should have been picks. Clearly not when it comes down to the underneath routes, check down routes, receivers and backs and everything. When it's clear that there is going to be a hook defender there, he's just clearly not seeing it. And that's how a lot of his picks are happening, which is concerning. But with all that, we were in position to win that game. And he didn't cost us the game. 9 dropped passes. I mean, it's it's. I was discussing somebody who's a Chiefs fan, and of course, they wanted to talk the shit that they wanted to talk. But I told them like this: we have a championship defense. There's no question about that. I said we have a. I don't believe that we have a championship caliber offensive line, but we have a good enough offensive line that can get the job done. I said we have a quarterback that can win this championship. He had he didn't say he could win us a championship. I said, look, you keep us in the game. I honestly think more times than not, Jimmy G Cool is going to get it done. And yes, that includes the Super Bowl. So we have a running back stable to champion. Um, I personally think the only tell me there's don't win a Super Bowl this year. I think this is the receivers, honestly. And what's frustrating the most is it's not like we haven't invested the capital. You know, Debo. Now Debo is outside of Emmanuel Sanders and Debo. I mean, really, what does this receiver core have? Kendrick Bourne, who I love, but Kendrick Bourne's a third, fourth wide receiver who's inconsistent and will make amazing plays that make you not understand why he's not a starter, and he'll have the simplest passes ever he'll drop. Has concentration issues. Um, I love KB. Do I think we could win a championship with KB on the team? Yeah, as a third, fourth receiver, sure. But I mean, it's clear that we didn't have the receiving core to get it done on Monday. And the frustrating thing about it is, nobody's talking about the run offense. And the running game was shut down because Seattle simply just said, you do not have the receivers to beat us. Yeah, Emmanuel Sanders and George Kittle in that game, man, we smoke Seattle. It's not even a close. We blow them out. Matt George Kittle, it's a close game, but I think the Niners get it done. But without George Kittle and losing Emmanuel Sanders in the game, plus all the injuries we just read through, you know what? Maybe you put your money on Russell in that case, and maybe 9 out of 10's game he wins that game. But I felt he lost, and I'm disappointed. The reason I walked out, and I remember Mama you saying, don't put your head down. No, I didn't leave my stadium down, man. My team fought their ass off. We left it all in the field. Hey, fuck it, you can't win them all. Yeah, I was emotional. I was upset, bro, because it's that team, and I loathe everything about that team. Yes, I did. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to be mad at 8-1, y'all. Still in first place in the conference, and you know what? The best thing about this, and why I love football is that the faith I have in this team to still get the number 1 or 2 seed and be in the NFC championship game. And if that game's at Levi's, I'll roll the dice. Or even if the game isn't at Levi's, but that game's at Levi's, it's done in my opinion. But so it's just frustrating, and I was emotional and everything like that. But the great thing about football is we play Green Bay, we play New Orleans. We have one more game, after this week, which of course we can't overlook the Cardinals. And this week will have its own challenges and reasons why we could lose this game. I'm not saying that we will. I believe that we'll get it done just because we're a better football team. But you know what? I mean, if our depth get needed in that, how much of a better football team are we? I mean, that's not having fun. I know, Mama. That's the best point you can add, Mama. Of course, she says that causes sacks because he's too delay. Doesn't have faith in receivers. Jimmy does not have confidence in anybody outside of George Kittle and Emmanuel Sanders. And you could say he's starting to develop a confidence with Debo. but even Debo's shaky. Which look, Debo is about where you would expect a rookie receiver to be. He's showing flashes. You can see that he's an NFL caliber. The passion, and you see why they call him Debo, and you love fighting him and everything about him. Yeah, I love Debo Samuel, but he's about where you expected the rookie. He still has his drops, he has his rookie moments, his penalties, his lapse of concentration. I mean, things that you would expect for the rookie. And maybe we're putting too much on Dante Pettis, and is it his fault that Shanahan? I mean, KB. They're not going to cut Dante Pettis. KB, I could see that. Maybe if we sign a receiver or something, maybe KB is the one. I don't think Dante is. Dante Pettis is going to finish the the team the year on the roster. Now, could Dante Pettis be trade bait? Yeah, I would not be surprised if Dante Pettis just shopped this offseason at all. This is, of course, yeah, and Mama, of course, she of course says Jimmy has a real connection with Emmanuel Sanders. He knows he could throw the spot and he will be there rather than having to wait for the receiver to reach the spot and then throw. He trusted he's a veteran receiver. He knows the offense and he's going to do his job. A lot of quarterback is anticipation. Anticipation throws. That what you saw with Jimmy. Uh, Monday, you didn't see him to making those anticipation throws like he did in Arizona. Exactly. It's not Dante Pettis' fault that Kyle Shanahan fell in love with him and traded up to get him in the draft. That is not Dante Pettis' fault. I will, and I will agree on that. And I want to believe in him because I've seen it. I've seen flashes of it. So you don't want to give up on him. I mean, look, Dante Pettis could be, next year or 2 years from now's Eric Armstead. How many of y'all? How many of y'all are so willing to? Myself included. There was times I was. Now I'm pretty sure we're glad we didn't do that, especially when basically, not so humble opinion, Seattle's offensive line couldn't handle Eric Armstead. They were like there was literally 3 plays I remember. They were basically grabbing Eric Armstead by his throat, and we're not going to get into what should have been called or not been called because I felt that it was, yeah, that was a first down, and we should have. Okay, Bob Money says maybe Richie James should trade places with Dante Pettis and let him do kick returning and punt returning since he was good at that in Washington. They don't trust him to catch the punts. Yeah. Oh yeah. Kim, I said it last week's show. Kim, I've been. Kim says Goodwin isn't showing up this year at all. It's definitely time to move on. Uh, he's Goodwin. Go ahead and start your training to the Olympics early. Um, and see, Mama says Pettis had mad yards after catch last season, of course, and that's why I see it in Dante. And I mean, you saw it in college with, as Bob Money had mentioned, some kicks that's open field running. That's getting the ball in your hands in open space, and so Dante Pettis thrives on that. And I think he's in his own head. I've heard people mention things that I won't mention on this podcast, but there might be some personal things going in his life that he hasn't come to terms with. Uh, Whatever. I pray for him about that he comes to terms with those things. But so it's now to step back and now remove ourselves from Seattle. It is what it is. I mean, does it suck? Yeah, but as Mama said, as we were leaving the stadium, it makes it all much better when we punched them out the last game of the year. Now I cannot be mad when okay. So if you break down where we stand at this point now, officially more of the season is behind us than now ahead of us. Um, Having us at 7-2 at best, um, maybe 8-1 where we're at. I cannot be mad at that. I said that the final game of the Euro would probably decide the division, and you know what? It may very well be. I would not. Yeah, no, exactly. Bob Money. He says Goodwin's focusing on the Olympics. I don't think he won't play next year. I think I'm good. God bless you, brother. I pray for you in your personal situation and everything you've gone through in your life. God bless you, brother. Powers to the people, all that. But I'm good off you, bro. I'm fine. Um, so I think we're at where we should be, and I think if you take a step back and ask where we are in the rebuild and progression of the Lynchahan era, I think we're right where we want to be. The only issue is that the learning experiences Jimmy's going through and the learning what Jimmy is would have happened last year. So as I explained to this friend of mine, um, I said, look, honestly, I think that we're in a precarious position because we're trying to, grow with a young quarterback, or young as far as starts are concerned, and have him go through his first season while trying to win and compete for a championship. And that's not necessarily a most ideal situation. Ideally, you would have liked to have the first year last year and then this year been the competing. But at the end of the day, I mean, can we be mad? I don't think we can be mad. We have faith in our team, and it's a bump in the road. And honestly, LA was the first game I thought we were going to lose when before the season is. So 3-1 in the sorry, 2-1 in the division. Maybe not the way I thought it was going to go, but I'll take that. We got Arizona coming up this week. We should be able to get that done. And Seattle is of course on their bye weekend. Here we are 9-1, and they're 8-2, and let's get it done. Let's go into the stretch one. I think will this these next two games will tell us a lot of what we need to know about the the 2019 Niners. And this will determine a lot about this season. I think that losing to Arizona would cost us. There's no way we could get a 1 or 2 seed, a first round bye. After that, would be pretty difficult to you know do that. Maybe even win the division. No, I think we can still win the division with still 2 games, 2 games left against LA and Seattle. But oh, trust me, Jason, I know exactly how you feel about talking all that smack. Oh, you couldn't hear me that you could have told me that weren't going to go 9-0, and the pregame tailgate. Now, of course, your boy has a brewskis and has a couple of drinks by that point. But yeah, there was no way I thought we were losing that football game. Um, but we're gonna go ahead and get out of here, and just kind of overall, I think that is there reasons to be concerned? Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think that we'll be all right. So, you know, pray that we can hold water until we get fully healthy. You know, um, I still I have a hard time thinking we're gonna go on this homestand and be 1-2. Like I just have a problem thinking we're gonna lose two out of the next three games. I just I don't know. Like I mean, maybe I'm putting too much faith in Jimmy G. Cool, but I just think it's a blip in the road, and I just have faith that he'll you know he'll come through. And let's not forget losing Emmanuel Sanders. Fine, no excuses. Say whatever you want to say. I mean, look, I'll say this, and we'll go ahead and wrap it up. And I'll make this my final thought. Um, there was a reason we were all screaming to get receiver. Okay, well, there was a reason we were screaming on how Jimmy G. Cool didn't. I mean, I wasn't, but there were people screaming he hasn't passed for 300 yards. Da, 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 da. We need a receiver. There was a reason we spent a third and a fourth to get a fifth and Emmanuel Sanders because our receiving core was trash. So if you lose, and that's with George Kittle, okay? So you go into the game without George Kittle and lose Emmanuel Sanders. Yeah, of course, of course. Growing pains of a young team, Jason, of course. But that's going to have consequences. I had us winning 12 games before the season started, so I'm doing good so far. I had us at 10-6, 11-5. So um I don't like I said, I don't see us losing. I don't see us only winning three more games the rest of the year. And I don't see us winning only two more games the rest of the year. That essentially probably means to tell me in order to go to 10-6, that means essentially our only wins are going to be probably this Sunday against Arizona and the Falcons. So Green Bay, Baltimore, New Orleans, the Yams, and the Sheekhawks again. And then we would lose or beat Tampa. Tampa. We would beat the Falcons and Arizona. That's our remaining schedule. I don't see us losing all five of those games. Now I'll give you Baltimore. I might give you Green Bay, or I'll take Green Bay and I might give you the Falcons. Like, okay, there'd be one. Every team seems to have a one fluke a season where they lose a game that they shouldn't, like Dallas losing to fucking the Jets. So I'll give you that, but I don't see us. I think realistically, 4-4 over the second half of the season, or 5-3, 5-3. I think 5-3, 6-2. I think that's what we'll do. 6-2 is optimistic. I think that's us going to New Orleans and beating um, New Orleans, and then I mean Green Bay, New Orleans. I mean there's going to be a couple, but I honestly think that over the 6-2 over the second half of the season is what I predicted. So that means we're going to lose one out of the next seven. Baltimore. But even going 5-3, that would mean losing. Let's just say losing to Baltimore and New Orleans. I'll take that. Fine. I'll have our only two other losses the rest of the second half of the season. So we're gonna win five out of the next seven. I'll take that. And I think anybody would be happy. I think that gets you. That gets you 13-3. That can get you a 1 or 2 seed. Probably most likely a 2 seed is as I'll put it to you this way. If you lose two if you don't beat both Green Bay and New Orleans, that's 13-3 is a 2 seed. There's no way that we could lose to New Orleans and to Green Bay and still, and then just, that wouldn't happen just by pure tiebreakers and things of that nature. But yeah. All right, y'all, we're going to go ahead and get up out of here. But before we do, I want to go ahead and remind everybody to join our Patreon's reward program for as little as $1 a month. You can get special perks like an invite to Niner Faithful Radio. To join us on Niner Faithful Radio, 10% off Niner Faithful shop, and much, much more. Go ahead and visit patreon.com/Niner Faithful Radio. Go to Seat Giant, use the promo code Niner Faithful Radio, all one word, and save on all theater, ticket, and sporting event tickets purchases, as well as help out the show. That website again is seatgiant.com, promo code Niner Faithful Radio. Go ahead and visit NinerFaithfulRadio.com to see all the show notes, get all the videos for this date in Niner history, see all our interviews, and see all our advertising and sponsorship packages. That website again is NinerFaithfulRadio.com. If you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and give us a thumbs up. Let us know what you thought about the show, and also hit the subscribe and notification bell. If you're listening to us as a podcast, please remember to give us that 5-star review and let us know what you thought of the show. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. It was a great show. I appreciated everybody interacting today. I shall see y'all tomorrow or Saturday for this date in Niner history, and then again on Tuesday as we will review hopefully another Niner dub against the Cardinals. Till then, faith, love, and happiness. Go Niners.